This is the Warrior Kid podcast number 40, Ask Uncle Jake. And this podcast is based on the 5 Way of the Warrior Kid books. The first one, Way of the Warrior Kid. The second one, Mark's Mission. The third one, Where There's a Will. And the fourth one, The Field Manual. Finally, book 5, Letters from Uncle Jake. And the books are about young Mark, who faces a lot of the same problems that kids everywhere face. But Mark gets help solving those problems from his Uncle Jake, who is a Navy SEAL and who stays with Mark in the summertime. And there's also a movie coming out that does a great job showing the journey of Mark to becoming a warrior kid. And this podcast is for warrior kids to hear some more lessons from Uncle Jake and get a chance to ask Uncle Jake some questions. Now, to start this off, once again, I'd like to talk to you about a virtue. Another virtue. Now, a virtue is a quality or a habit that can help you make the right choices and the right decisions and be the best person that you can be. And there are many virtues that help guide us on the right path. And on the last podcast, I talked about the importance of the virtue that is called patience, which means we stay calm when things get tough. And it is a very beneficial thing for you and for the people around you to be patient. And today I would like to talk about another virtue. And this virtue is one called optimism. And optimism is actually about your attitude. And it means seeing the good side of things instead of seeing the bad side of things. It means that even when things are tough, instead of being negative and thinking of how terrible things are, instead you will be positive and think about the good opportunities that can come from a tough situation. That's what being optimistic is. Optimistic, that's the word. So let me give you an example here. Let's say you were going to have some friends over to play outside in the yard. But when the day came for them to come over, it was raining outside. Now, a person without the virtue of optimism, a person with a negative or what's called a pessimistic attitude, that's the opposite of an optimistic attitude. It's a pessimistic attitude. That person, if it was raining, they might say, "Oh no, this is terrible. This ruins everything. I don't even want my friends to come over anymore." That is not an optimistic attitude at all. That's a bad attitude. An optimistic person, an optimistic kid, a warrior kid, if they were having friends over and they found out that it was raining, they would probably say something like this: "Oh, wow, it's raining out. That's great. There's going to be a bunch of puddles in the front yard we can play in. We can even build a lean-to and see if we can make good shelter that protects us from the rain. Doesn't that sound awesome?" Well, I kind of think that sounds awesome. And that is a totally different attitude. That is an optimistic attitude. That is looking for the good when things happen instead of looking for the bad when things happen. And you know what it's very important to remember about attitudes is that attitudes are contagious. That means that they spread. That means if you have a bad attitude, other people are going to catch that bad attitude from you as well, just like a sore throat. So if you were having kids to come over and it was raining, and you said, "I can't believe this raining. This is going to be a terrible day." All your friends would be like, "I don't even know if I want to come over anymore." That bad attitude would spread. But if you said, "Hey guys, it's raining out, but still come on over. There's going to be puddles out front. We're going to make a lean-to. It's going to be awesome." And kids are like, "Oh yeah, cool. We get to play in the puddles. We get to make a lean-to. This is going to be an awesome day." So if you have a good attitude, if you have an optimistic attitude, then that will spread as well. Smiles are as contagious as a sore throat. And that's a good thing. And when you have an optimistic attitude, you will feel better. You will be more relaxed. And when you feel better and you're more relaxed, you can actually do better. And so can everyone around you. So don't be negative. Don't have a pessimistic attitude, which is a grumpy attitude, which is a sad attitude. Instead, be optimistic and find the good in whatever situation you are presented with. And also, keep smiling. Keep smiling even when things are tough. That is optimism, and it's good for you. It's good for your friends. It's good for your family, and it's good for your team. And now let's get to some questions. And the first question is from a 10-year-old warrior kid, and he asks, I'm 10 years old, a gray belt in jiu-jitsu, and I want to be a Navy SEAL. Do you think I can be a Navy SEAL if I can't watch a horror movie? And that is from Ben. Well, Ben, I am glad you're training jiu-jitsu. That's kind of awesome. And you're also a gray belt, which is very cool. So keep getting after that. As far as being a Navy SEAL, if you can't watch a horror movie, well, first of all, I would say this, you're 10 years old. And it's probably good that you're not watching a horror movie. Horror movies are meant to horrify people. They're meant to horrify people, and they're meant to horrify adults, not even kids. They're meant to horrify people, adults. And since kids are younger and they have less experience and they are smaller and they haven't seen a lot of the world, horror movies are a lot more horrifying and scarier to a kid than they are to an adult. So there's no reason for a 10-year-old to watch a horror movie. And listen, as you get older and you see more of the world and you have more experience, you will realize that horror movies are just horror movies. They're just movies and they're not real. And you won't be scared of them anymore. So this is not going to be a problem. You will be fine. But that being said, just remember, watching a movie, even a horror movie, is very easy compared to going through SEAL training or actually being a SEAL. SEAL training is extremely hard to get through. You need to be extremely mentally and physically tough. You need to be comfortable in the most uncomfortable situations. SEAL training is cold, wet, miserable, and tired for long periods of time. For weeks, you are going to be cold, wet, miserable, and tired. You know, sometimes you have a long day at school and you get home and you really want to go to bed early. You can't go to bed early when you're in SEAL training. You know how sometimes it's cold outside. Maybe you're at a soccer practice and you get done playing and your parents are standing around talking and you were sweating or it rained a little bit and now the wind's picking up and you're cold and you want to go jump in the car and get warm. You can't do that in SEAL training. It's cold, wet, and miserable, and you will be tired. So that is very, very hard. A lot harder than watching a movie. Also, when you get to the SEAL teams, it gets even tougher. So train hard, do a lot of sports, do your best in school, don't get in any trouble, exercise, and try and be a good person. Try and be a warrior kid. And then if being a SEAL is something you decide to commit to, you can try it. Or you can go off and you can find something else that you're interested in, and you can do your best in that. Because SEAL training and being a SEAL, that life is extremely difficult. So that's what I've got for Ben. The next question is from Aiden, who's from Nebraska. He's 11 years old, and he says, I have a teacher who's not very kind. How do I not dread going to their class? Oof, that doesn't sound very fun to me. Well, unfortunately, there are always people in the world that are mean or not very kind. Even in the Warrior Kid books, right? In the Warrior Kid books, you've got Kenny Williamson. He's not very nice. We got Nathan James. He's not very nice, especially in the beginning. And so no matter what you do in life, you are always going to unfortunately run into people that are not very nice, not very kind. So this is a very good question because we have to learn how to deal with people like this. And first of all, I want you to remember what Uncle Jake taught Mark. You have to try and understand what other people are going through. You have to understand other people's lives. You have to try and understand that there's probably a reason why they act the way they act, why they are mean. And that is called perspective, trying to understand the way other people see things or what's making people behave a certain way. That's called perspective. And it's us trying to understand why someone might not be very kind. So that's part one of this. Now, unfortunately, just because you know why someone is being mean or you recognize that there's a reason for them to be mean, that doesn't mean that they start being nice, right? We still have to learn to deal with them. And there's two things that I like to do if someone is not very nice. And the first one is very important. It is that I don't take anything personally. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to let the way they act bother me. I'm not going to let the way they talk bother me. I'm not going to let their words bother me. I'm not going to let their attitude bother me. And I'm going to remember that they are acting the way they are acting because there's something wrong with them. There's something that's bothering them. There's something that's troubling them. And that's why they're being mean. It's not because of me. It's because of something that's going on in their life. And so whatever they say to me, however they treat me, it's not going to make me feel bad because I know that's just what's going on in their world, not my world. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to take anything personally. And the second thing I'm going to do, and this can be very hard to do, is I'm going to be nice. I'm going to try and be nice to them. And I know it's hard, but when someone's mean to me, I try to be nice back to them. If they make fun of my haircut, I'm going to say, yeah, I guess it's a pretty weird haircut. If they make fun of my shoes, I'm going to say, yeah, there are some strange colors on my shoes. I know, it's pretty weird looking. I'm just going to try to be nice to them. It's kind of the way that Mark in the book, when Nathan James was calling him plate face, he just tried to be nice to him. But it doesn't only apply to kids. It applies to grown-ups as well and teachers. And teachers and adults can have a lot of stress in their life. They might be frustrated with other students. They might be frustrated or have some problems in their family or at their home. They might have some health problems. They might have some money problems. We don't know what kind of problems other people have. And sometimes a teacher or a grown-up can have a problem that's so bad that they're mean to other people. They're mean to their students. And so my goal is not to add any problems into their world. My goal is to try and be nice to them. And that, to me, has worked the best in handling people that are not kind. Don't take it personal and try and be nice to them. And the last question is from Natalie, who's 5 years old, and she's from Montana. And she says, "Dear Uncle Jake, what should I do if I am scared that people close to me, like my mom, dad, sister, or dog, might die?" Yeah. It's pretty normal to be scared that people or our pets might die. Because it does happen, and dying is part of life, and that can seem very, very scary. But thankfully, in our normal day-to-day life, it is not something that happens a lot. And thankfully, also, usually we get to spend long lives and enjoy our family and our friends and our pets. And our lives are precious, and their lives are precious, and that's why the time that we have with them is precious. And that's why it's very important that we enjoy the time that we have with our friends and our family and our pets. And it is very difficult to enjoy the time with our family and our friends and our pets if we are worried about who might die. So we need to focus on what we get to do with our friends, our family, and our pets every day. We need to focus on enjoying what we have with our friends, our family, and our pets. And what we shouldn't focus on is the fact that something might happen to them, something that we have no control over, something that might happen one day. We can't focus on that because we don't have any control over it. What we do have control over is having a good time with our family, our friends, and our pets right now. So, don't be scared. It's okay. Instead, hug your mom and dad. Hug your sister. Play games with your sister. Play catch with your dog. Be a good sister and be a good daughter and be a good friend. And focus on living your life, enjoying your life, spending good time with the people and the pets in your family, and focus on being a good warrior kid. And if you do that, those fears will fade away. They won't disappear completely, but they'll fade, and you'll realize that you should enjoy the things that you have. And that's what we got. Stay on the path, Natalie. And that is what we have for the Warrior Kid podcast this time. And if you want to get one of the Warrior Kid books, or you want to get the Mikey and the Dragon book, you can go to warriorkid.com. You can also get a Warrior Kid t-shirt or Warrior Kid rash guard from warriorkid.com. If you need a jiu-jitsu gi for you as a kid, you can get one at originusa.com. And finally, to be strong and smart, you need the right fuel. So we made Warrior Kid protein drinks so you can grow strong. We made Warrior Kid vitamins so you can be healthy. We made Warrior Kid supplements to help you focus when you need it or help you rest when it is time. And you can get all the Warrior Kid fuel at jockofuel.com. And that is it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading the books. And remember to train hard, study hard, work hard, get after it, and be a warrior kid.